following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbb-radio.com.
Hey, and welcome to Tee It Up with Phil and Cindy, our fifth show, Cindy.
I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
5 already.
We have so much fun doing the show, don't we?
So much fun.
And today...
It's a blast.
Today we have Adam Steigert, local Buffalo, Western New York filmmaker. I have Adam's bio, and I'm going to read it. Welcome, Adam. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Yes,
Nice
so
to meet you.
excited to have you, Adam.
I'm
thank
really
you.
glad you could come and visit
Yes,
us.
of course.
Adam is an American filmmaker featured in books, newspapers, magazines, podcasts, and various interviews. He's known for several films, including Ombis, Alien Invasion, Prisoners of Death. He co-founded Buffalo-based production company DefTone Pictures, the Buffalo Film Extras, and is co-founder of 388 Studios, often classified as a magician of the horror and special effect features in his films. Adam creates epic landscapes through thrifty creative decisions and storytelling, and I was in his last film, Ombis 2.
Stop it.
Yes, you were.
Phil, I
You
did
were.
not know that.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So,
my gosh.
Welcome,
Yes.
Adam. I'm glad you could join
Well,
us.
thank
yes,
you for
so
inviting
happy
me.
to have you, Adam, and
Yeah.
so nice to meet you for the first time in
I know.
person.
I know, right?
Yes.
I'm everywhere digitally, but
Yeah,
I'm like nowhere
right.
physically.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get out very often. So not that I don't get out. I choose not to go out very often
Right.
to like events and things. So,
Yeah.
but sometimes I like to, move into things a little bit here and there. But thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Show number 5. Congratulations.
No, thank you.
And Ombis 2.
This is, I have to tell you, I went on your YouTube channel,
Thank you.
and I have to say, this is huge, Phil. Adam has over 1 million followers. Is that correct?
600,000 followers, but I have millions of views on.
Okay, millions
yeah.
of views.
Yeah.
Well,
That is
600,
incredible.
but that is a feat in itself
Yeah.
to have that many followers. Like, that is just...
Yeah. I'm trying to get to 1 million.
Unbelievable.
I'm trying to get to 1 million.
You're going to get to 1 million, but like 1 million views, 600,000 followers, like that is just astounding to me. So as I'm navigating on Adam's page, I start with your first film on there.
Oh, boy.
And I do have to finish it. I'm going to finish it tonight.
Sure.
But I have to tell you, I clicked on it and I started watching it.
Which one, by the way?
Ombis,
Ombis 1.
Invasion,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a good
So
starting-
that's a
starting
good start. It was the
Yeah.
first one listed, so that's the first one I clicked on. And I have to tell you, as I started watching it, I was really, really intrigued by the aesthetics of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Like, to me, it had, and I don't know if I'm using the right word, but like kind of like a retro,
80s type of.
yeah, it was just like, it just drew me in, and I was like, and I had to go,
Of
so
course.
I couldn't finish watching it. But tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about the aesthetics of it, the filming of it. I was just so like, it caught my eye
Yeah.
right away. So tell us a little bit about that first.
Well, that was like my first really solo directing debut.
Okay.
And for years, we had been talking about doing a sequel, which is obviously where Philip came in.
Score,
and,
Phil.
And Philip is a producer on the film. Are you you're associate or are you just a
I believe
producer?
in this, at this point.
God,
an
this
associate.
guy is-
Yeah, I mean, he's
This guy
everywhere.
is everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Can't
Well,
get rid of this guy.
I will say that people like Philip and like yourself that believe in the work that I do and the visions that I have of what drive me. But Ombis 1 was a huge thing. I don't know how far you got into it, but we ended up flipping over cars and things like that and shutting down streets. Where in Ombis 2 is all a digital world that we are living in for the most part.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that one. I have about 30 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay. So then you
Yeah.
probably did see
Yeah.
something to do with some car flipped
Yeah.
over somewhere. But the other film, Prisoners of the Dead, we actually flipped over cars inside Angola, New York, We brought cars out to this out there, and we flipped them over. And
Wow.
It was a zombie film, but I'm getting a little off track to
Oh
your
my God!
question.
Wait a second.
not off track.
Wait a second. How do you flip a car over?
We had to bring in a forklift. No, a tractor. It was a tractor. Yeah, it was a tractor. The Prisoners of the Dead actually even got a book out of it. The makeup effects artist of Prisoners of the Dead, Rod Durek, he actually was writing a book simultaneously to the film. So there's a book out there that heavily features a lot of visuals from that film.
Wow.
But Ombis is my baby.
Yeah.
It's my favorite film next to Fang. If you have not seen Fang and you don't like graphic horror, don't watch Fang.
Right.
The opening scene will make your stomach turn.
I love horror.
Well,
I'm a horror girl.
Well,
You'll like it.
it's
You'll like it
intense.
then.
It's intense. Have you seen it, Phil?
I've seen parts of Fang. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
Well,
I have.
the parts that you've seen probably are.
It's pretty intense.
See, there's a market that people like that grungy horror.
Right.
And Ombis really was inspired from The Blob. And, as an indie guy, you can't get the rights to The Blob, right? So, I kind of like morphed my own way to doing it. But Ombis is actually a subword for zombie. If you remove the Z and the E, and when I was growing up, what my teachers would tell me is write what you know. Actually, my grandfather would always say that to me, is write what you know. And when I was a kid, I was fascinated with zombie movies.
I was going to ask you that. Like, it had to be like, did you have nightmares about them?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of mind thinks of stuff like this? I always wonder. Let's get into your mind a little bit. Like, what the heck?
It depends on which film we're talking about. Sometimes the films have been written a little bit inebriated.
Right,
or,
yeah.
Some...
Well,
I was going to ask you that, but I didn't want to offend
That's
you.
okay. You're not going to offend me. You're not going to offend me.
You open up your mind. doing
Yeah,
that,
it's just-
right?
Oh, my mind's
Yeah.
open. My mind's
Wow,
flying.
holy
flying
shit.
high. The Horrific Evil Monsters was really a film like that. And, Horrific Evil Monsters was a film that I did a couple years ago. We shot it in Buffalo, shut down streets again and all that. And it was a big community event in the Buffalo film community. So I look at some of these films that I've done, because I've been working in this industry in Buffalo for nearly, 14 years.
Wow.
14 years, maybe
that's a long
maybe
time.
longer.
Right.
I started in 2003, but didn't get serious until 2008. So yeah.
Well, tell us your background. Did you go to school for film, or is just something you have always enjoyed doing, and now you've, through experience, gotten better and better and better at it?
Yeah, I taught a lot of self-teaching. I wanted to go to school for it, but I had a love interest at the time, and she was like, "Well, if you go to school for it in New York City, I might not be here when you come
they
back."
always root at those women, don't
So-
they?
Always.
Jesus,
It doesn't matter.
come
I
on.
didn't end up with
Always.
that young
Yeah,
lady.
thank God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been with. I've been with people that are not good with film.
Yeah.
A lot of my relationships. I think every single relationship except my current one has ended because of film. And I will tell you, it has even pushed the current relationship that I'm in. That who knows?
Well,
But-
it's your love of
Oh,
film
boy.
that really. It's your love.
Cut that out, Rich.
It's your love of film that really drives
Yeah.
you, and you got to do what you
What you're
truly
passionate
believe
about,
in and
right?
what you're passionate about.
now you
So,
were on set of Ombis. What? Just one day? Ombis 2?
Just the one day we did the therapy scene. Of
Yeah.
course, I did.
What,
the
were you the
scene.
therapist?
No, I was one of the.
Phil needs therapy,
I
but
was
anyway.
one of the people that needed therapy, and
You
I
did-
had
seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam gave me a monologue,
Yeah.
Oh.
and I had a really nice monologue. Pattern, the abuse, every trip to the store, going to work. It got to the point where I didn't even want to leave the house because I just knew there was going to be some sort of punishment, either the silent treatment or worse. And you talked about how you did it all digitally.
Yeah.
So you did it all within the space that we were at.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
basically, we did do some outdoor scenes, but there was blue screen involved with that. Now everybody needs to remember that blue screen and green screen, big difference with it. Blue screen's for like dark night type stuff, where green screen is like your outdoor day activity type of thing. We used, I don't think I used green screen but once in the entire film.
Where did you film that one that you said it was all in one, except maybe
the
a little
week
bit
that
outside?
Yeah, the week that we shot with Philip was sorry.
It's okay.
Philip was
My mother.
was all blue screen. So we had these big blue screens sets constructed,
Right.
and it was just we had the town of West Seneca that came out. We had the news was there. It was just
Wow.
It's just it was a really positive vibe, you know.
Well, it was a fun day on that side. I mean, it wasn't. We actually ran it and went through it pretty quickly. We didn't take a lot because Phil is a professional.
Yeah.
I
I'm
want to
assuming.
think I am.
I'm assuming there's like a cult like following, right?
Yeah. For Ombis and Prisoners of the Dead, those are the two films I get asked about the most out of my entire career.
Yeah.
Both have over millions of views. My YouTube channel just recently hit over 10 million views.
Wow.
So
that's huge, Adam.
But
that's
I don't
huge.
have 10 million subscribers
But
yet,
that's okay. We're working on 1 million.
Yeah,
Let's start
we're working
there.
on 1 million, exactly.
Wait, listen, 600,000. Holy
We can only
moly!
hope. Huh?
That
Yes.
is fantastic.
And the key to YouTube, for all those out there that are trying to figure it out,
Tell us.
Tell us.
We need it.
you
Give us
need
the
to
secret.
invest. Okay, you need to invest in it like a producer. And then once it has established itself a little bit, then the continued following will happen. You know, it's like a mind game. Like anything, the human brain thinks, oh, there's more people latching on to this, so this must be something worth seeing,
Right.
or must be worth watching,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I started.
So you have a producer.
I am the producer.
You're the hashtag.
We
Right?
have our producer.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, it's monetary.
But you would recommend that for somebody who's maybe starting out?
I would
in the-
recommend YouTube to everyone.
Yeah.
YouTube is going to be probably, in my opinion, the biggest streaming application that'll be out there. I mean, you got your TikTok, for social media, but like TV is
for
going
who
away.
knows how long, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
TikTok.
TV 100%.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's all about what app can I watch what I want to see.
Right.
You know, Paramount Plus,
Right.
HBO Max,
Right.
which is no longer HBO Max. It's just Max, and
It's just Max.
and you don't want to get me going on the Warner Brothers train because I absolutely hate that company. And and I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I just absolutely hate Warner Brothers and what they've done. Like their stock recently, if you've looked at their stock,
No,
their stock once used to be like really good.
Yeah.
And it's down to $10.
Now, why do you hate them? Give us a.
Yeah, I'll give
us
you a
the
very
tea.
short version
Yeah.
of it because I don't want to make this whole show about it because I could do it.
Right, yeah.
Um,
No, we want to talk about you,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
curious. Just
Warner Brothers, I did a backlot tour a couple of years ago of Warner Brothers. Awesome studio. I was a big Zack Snyder fan when it came to the DC properties.
Mm-hmm.
And then James Gunn got his little hands into it and like insulted the fan base of DC.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing that you don't do with your audience is you insult them right off the gate, excuse me.
Yeah.
You know, because he took over, fired all the cast from the original Zack Snyder films and picked and chose who he was going to put in his movies.
Okay.
Since he's been there, every film except Aquaman 2 has nearly failed.
Right.
Or has failed.
Yeah.
And that's because the
That wasn't that good. But
Well,
anyway, yeah.
I didn't the audience, the fans that they
Right.
had created for 10 years have left
Right,
them.
Right.
They think they're going to start new, and I don't see it. I don't play
So
it.
you're,
I
you're
don't see it playing
not
away.
you're not big on this new Superman that's going to
No.
be out in July.
No,
I'm kind of looking forward to it
the-
because I love the character,
now this is a good
and
conversation.
I hope
to
they
have.
don't ruin this character.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
'Cause you-
first off, notice it's out in 4 months from the time of recording of this interview.
Yes.
All right, in July, and notice they've only done a teaser for it, and the teaser got so much backlash. The costume is probably the worst thing that I found in it because it's baggy. Henry Cavill, who was the Superman.
Oh, yeah.
My Superman.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Christopher Reeve, the
Right,
man,
right,
the man,
yeah.
the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
But Henry Cavill, when he put the suit on, the muscle was him.
Right.
You know, this suit looks very baggy.
It's very different than any of the ones we've seen in the evolution.
Maybe he's
through
on
the films from
Ozempic.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Well, it really from Christopher Reeve to Brandon Roth.
Yeah, Brandon Roth was
which
okay.
I thought, I really liked Superman Returns.
I did like it too.
And I thought it was a really good segue from Superman 1 and 2 with Christopher Reeve. They threw out 3 and 4, which I'm very glad they, in that canon, and went into Superman Returns. And I thought it was a really I really liked the film.
I did too. And I will say that as much as Kevin Spacey is not the person you want to advertise,
Right.
He did play a good
Now,
Lex
anyway.
Luthor.
He was a very
He
good
was a good
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, the Man of Steel and Justice League. And
Man of
Batman.
Steel is amazing.
I like it. I got to tell you, I'm not crazy about. The one I really am not crazy about is Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
I like Justice League.
Yeah.
So this change, like you're talking about, is.
Now, did you see Zack Snyder's Justice League, or did you see
I've seen them both.
the Justice League,
seen,
the Justice League?
I've seen the original theater version.
Yeah.
But then the 4-hour Zack Snyder version I've also seen.
You have to admit, though, in Batman vs. Superman, the fight scene with Batman towards the end of the film is probably one of the best fight scenes of a Batman.
I do like it.
Very violent.
It just like a lot of things.
You're somebody that doesn't believe in kills.
Phil, you could be a Lex Luthor.
I would love to play that part, but I guess because he's always been my favorite character.
Yeah.
And I'm a big comic book guy.
Sure.
So even with this new one, everybody a good friend of mine and I were talking. I said, this is this character and this is that, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the Marvel series, I always liked them too. But I was always a bigger DC guy.
I was too.
Than Marvel
in the beginning
when I first started reading when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So
Batman was my thing.
But you know what? I'm gonna just see how it turns out.
Hey, you let me know.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Adam's gonna boycott.
I'm boycotting it. Yeah, I'm part of that train.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up because I love that genre, but I'm a big movie guy and I like all sorts.
Oh
of
yeah.
movies. I mean, it goes across the board.
Speaking about movies, this is one question that I was thinking about on the way up here for Adam. Thinking back about what my first movie was. What was the first movie that you saw in a movie theater?
That I saw in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh boy.
I was thinking about this because I'll tell you what I saw. Because I want to get into your mind because of what.
Well, what did you see?
What I saw. Okay, Pippi Longstocking. That's how old I am. Okay.
I think the first film I ever saw in a theater, and I may be saying the title wrong, was a cartoon and it was Cock-a-Doodle-Doo or Rock-a-Doodle-Doo.
Oh, okay. I just wonder because
I don't know.
Yeah.
like what kind of movies inspired
Dawn of the
you?
Dead inspired me.
Okay, I was gonna say
George Romero is like my icon.
Okay.
I have had opportunities to meet him.
Oh wow.
And I didn't.
I was gonna say, oh gosh, it's great.
Always when you get an opportunity to do
yeah.
it, you do it.
My wife, though, she's got pictures with him. She's met him several times.
Really?
Yes, yeah. She's got.
So
Really?
you're
But I have a written check and a sign from him on my wall.
Wow.
And I have to say this, Philip. IMDb one time in my history linked my name to George Romero's name on a press release, and that was like, all right. I have.
Did you
died
screenshot
yeah,
that?
Oh, you better believe I did.
So,
yeah.
Phil, wait, what was yours?
My first film. You guys are gonna laugh. I remember my mother taking us to the theater that used to be on Main Street over here.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And in the Falls,
Yeah.
and I saw I believe it was Mary Poppins.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that's
Mary Poppins.
1960
Little Philip.
66 or something like that.
Wow.
Mary Poppins 2 that returns.
But I'll tell you, just I'm going to get back to Dawn of the Dead in a second.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you a little other story.
Sure.
I remember going to the theater with my brothers, and they didn't want me to go because my brothers were teenagers. I had two older brothers, and they were teenagers, and they said, "We're not taking it." You know,
we're not taking Philip.
You know, I was the
Philip, stay
tag
home.
along, and we were going, and I believe it's 1967. Fantastic Voyage. So they were meeting like girls there and stuff. And it was a theater. And
They
I'll
didn't
tell you
want
where this
you to
theater
ruin it.
was on East Fall Street over here near Godowski's. The theater was right there in the corner. And we went and saw Fantastic Voyage because Raquel Welch was in it. My brother.
Oh, she's my idol.
And,
I love her.
Donald, is it
Pleasance?
Yeah, Donald Pleasance in it.
Yep.
And it's to this day, every time that film's on. I mean, it's actually a really good movie.
I actually have never seen the full
Fantastic
thing.
Voyage.
I've only seen little bits and pieces
But
of it.
I have to tell you, I really love that movie, and it still holds up today. The story and even the rudiment, special effects of miniaturization, everything. If you ever saw, but anyways, that was one my brothers. Like I had to tag along with them, and they were like,
Little Phillips.
But then my mother said, "I can't believe." She said something to my father. I can't believe you let them go see because Raquel Welch wore that tight-fitting suit that was zipped down the middle.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
She looked good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's only natural to be attracted to somebody. Okay?
Right.
There's no shame in that.
Yeah, no shame in your game, Phil.
Remember, it's 1967.
Yeah.
Different time.
And it's a different time. My mother was like, and my old man was like, "What do I care?" He's like, "Yeah." They went to the movies, but going back to George. So was it Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead?
It was.
What was the first one?
Here's the truth. I watched Return of the Living Dead on TV, TBS. You remember when they used to do Monster Vision and all that? I watched the first one, and it said Return in the title. So I'm like, this has to be a sequel to something. So I started doing some research as a kid, found Night of the Living Dead.
Now, how old would you say you were?
Young.
Okay.
I'm talking
10.
No, younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would watch
Scared the living daylights out of you.
Well, it was on
kid.
Monster Vision.
Yeah,
They had to like cut certain things.
Yeah.
But so I watched it with my grandfather, fell in love with Return of the Living Dead. And then I'm like, I got to see if there's any other ones because this has to be a sequel because it uses the word return in the title.
Right.
And so I found Night of the Living Dead. And I watched Night of the Living Dead in black and white for about 5 minutes. And I watched Night of the Living Dead for about 5 minutes and couldn't watch it. I was so scared. And I had to have my grandfather watch it with me. And then, he didn't, he's like, why are we watching this crap? And I'm like, it's not crap, it's cinema.
Yeah.
But ever since I was
from a young age, it's crazy.
Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a director.
Wow.
Well, now that film is actually, I believe, part of the film registry. That is
it's an archive.
Right. It is one of the most classic films. And what did they spend? Like less than $100,000 on the film?
I'm not really sure
and
what they
it made
spent.
a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
It was a huge success.
I know that they lost the rights, a lot of right issues with that film. So much that they made a remake of Return of the Living Dead in the 90s, which was a very good remake, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
And they thought they could figure out the copyright issues because the original film was like Night of the Ghouls or something. So that was the copyright, but they released it as Night of the Living Dead. That's why you can see it everywhere, streaming like free almost.
Right.
So that found my love for George Romero and the zombie world. And Dawn of the Dead is just the original. That is just a masterpiece in like film cinema. I've been to the mall. I have walked the streets of the mall.
Oh, you walked the mall when they're in those scenes. Oh my gosh,
I've been on the elevator or the escalator rather.
Yeah,
you know that one zombie comes down, but very changed, very very changed. But there was some other films in there. Zack and Mary Make a Porno was in there too. And if you look at the I don't know if you've ever seen that film. Funny film.
It is very funny.
The scene that I'm thinking right now is the frosting of the cake. If you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I mean. But the shirts that they wore in Zach and Miri Make a Porno was Monroe zombies. And they shot the film in the Monroeville Mall, which, again, just a little nerdy in me coming out.
Right.
But, so that started my love for writing. And then as I got older, I like a kid, in high school, I wanted to be an actor. I want to act. Give me acting.
Yeah.
Or give me death.
Right.
And then no one would direct me. And there was no one making
Is you
films.
were difficult?
Well, I would say I am pretty
Yeah.
difficult. But I would also say that there was no one doing this.
Yeah.
And if somebody was doing it, it wasn't connected or cohesive like it is now, which is what led me, after we shot Ombis 1, which is what led me to actually start the Buffalo Film Actors Group. And the Buffalo Film Actors Group has Sony, Disney, Columbia Pictures, which is a subsidy of, Sony and all that, have put casting calls in this thing. I didn't seek them out.
Right.
They found the page.
Yeah.
There's
I didn't realize that you started that page. I'm on that page all the time. I think as actors, that's a great place.
That's a great
That's a
resource,
great
yeah.
place. And they can find it on Facebook, right?
yeah.
Correct?
Yep.
I think that's a great place to start if you're getting into acting and you see the postings on
And they're
there.
genuinely real people. I built a real base of people in Buffalo because for the longest time, I would, and I still do, or we still do, because I'm not the only moderator, but
Right.
we would do checks on everybody. Everybody had to answer a series of questions.
Right,
I don't know if you remember
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
And if you didn't answer the questions, you didn't get in the page.
Right.
So that's how we narrowed it out. But that started forming the Buffalo film community. Because I started this about 2012.
Right.
And there was no community. There was one director who had a big ego in the area and wanted to shut me down, so to speak.
Right.
Because I was taking some of the limelight. And I thought he was going to destroy my career.
There's enough for everybody.
I thought he was going to destroy my career. So I went
bastard.
on my own. I
Yeah.
went on my own, got away from all those toxic people.
Yeah.
And started forming my own thing. Found there was a ton of people that love to make movies.
Right.
And my films, some of them have featured over 1,000 people in them. Prisoners of the Dead, with cast, crew, and all that, over 1,000 people.
That's
in it.
amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. That absolutely is
That's
amazing.
a lot of people too.
That's
There's
amazing.
there's a really great documentary out that I helped produce called Behind the Screams: The Making of Prisoners of the Dead. And you could watch that and see young Adam, 24, 23, on set of a street that's completely shut down with cars flipped over,
Yeah.
looking at the street and then looking at the people behind him and seeing them behind this caution tape.
Right.
Hundreds of extras, hundreds of onlookers.
Yeah.
I think all of Angola was down there. And you know what's even crazier? The town of Angola, they gave me a police command station. They brought this big trailer out, parked in the street adjacent to where we were filming on, and they had this big setup. They gave us fire trucks.
Wow.
They gave us police cars.
Wow.
And, I'm sure they did some type of background check on all of us that came to that meeting.
Right.
Because I was just like I said, 24-year-old punk kid
Yeah.
coming in and being like, hey, I want to make a movie
That's
in your town.
amazing.
So, as you've gotten into this,
Yeah.
and you're writing, directing, and doing all this,
Yeah.
what is the biggest obstacle? Is it financing these things at this point, or I mean, you've done quite a few of them,
Right.
Yeah.
And they're not cheap to do.
No.
We know that.
No. I would say every film that I've produced is between $35,000 to $55,000. Most of that money generally comes from my own pocket. But at times, and we did Indiegogo for Ombis 2, we found a wide range of individuals, Philip included,
Right.
who believed in a dream that I had.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever seen the first Ombis, but if you didn't, that impresses me even more because you were willing to take a chance on somebody that you didn't know.
Right.
Well,
of
here's
the
what I
track
did
record.
when I saw you were looking for actors and people to jump on as with your fundraising campaign.
Yeah.
And I knew I was late getting to the game, I actually sent you, I think, a message.
You
that
did,
said,
yeah.
Hey, can I still audition for a part?
Right.
And you sent me a bunch. You go, well, you sent me a little list of them. And I said, well, I could do this one part. It's really only 1 or 2 lines, but you're on film a lot more. Or I could do this one or that one. And then I said, you know what? There's only one scene with this guy who has the
Steve.
has the monologue. I said, you know what? That's the one I'm
Yeah.
doing. Because I said, even though it's only one scene, I said, I'm doing this one. So that's the one.
His audition blew me away.
Really?
I was part of the casting on that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, first off, I need you in this film because I want you in this film. I had seen his work in the Buffalo 48.
Oh,
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
And
I'm a little embarrassed by that.
no, don't be embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed. We all start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to see something embarrassing, look up a film called Bites.
Yeah.
Bitez. Okay? And don't judge me for it. But yeah, so we got connected on from the 48.
Yeah.
Because I judged it 1 or 2 years, I think.
Right.
And
You did. Yeah. You judged it the first or second year that because I've only done it, well, this would be 4 years and this will be number 5.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's I hope you keep doing it. First off, I'll just say, and I throw this out there, Jordan Lemur, he is one of my favorite people. So he's good people. In fact, I saw him yesterday at the Sasquatch concert that was in Buffalo, New York. Oh my God! Do you know the Sasquatch?
I have no idea.
No. I
Oh
don't.
my God! There's this guy that dresses in a full Sasquatch outfit,
Yeah.
plays the saxophone.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding you. And the place was sold out.
Oh my God.
Turns out that my friend, Grace, owns Ironworks, which is where it was at.
Okay.
And
I was going to ask.
I was
at Ironworks.
yeah.
They usually have stuff like
yeah,
that.
and I was like,
Yeah, that's a cool place. Yeah.
now I gotta say this because I went to the show and somebody goes, Adam, and that's typically what I hear when I go to events is, hey Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like trying to figure out who this was that was talking to me. I later ended up messaging her just to make sure that it was her. But yeah, Grace, good people. And then I was going over to Canada, and I was coming back to from Canada a couple of years ago, and this happened to me more than once now. 2 different people. One was a man, one was a female. The female says, "Are you Adam Steigert?" Who's checking my passport when I'm coming over? I go, I am, clearly.
Yeah.
And she goes, you're the one that makes the movies in Buffalo, right? I go, yeah. You know, she's a border patrol person,
Right.
so I'm like, I don't know if this is good, bad, or
Yeah.
indifferent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's so cool.
Buffalo has so many legends, and as the years have like kind of come together, I have seen some great legends pass. You know, I'm not sure if you knew Michael O'Hear, but I worked with Michael O'Hear quite a bit. He was somebody that in a lot of the local films supported any film they did, even if it was a crappy film. He'd still give it 100%. He taught me a lot as an actor, as a professional, and all that. And he passed away many years ago now. Recently, we had Adam Krutinger that passed away. Terrible circumstance that happened with him. My love is out to him and his family. But I met him also through the 48.
Right.
So you have a lot of these things converging.
Right.
Right. You have the Buffalo Film Extras. You have the 48-hour film festival.
Right.
You have now Casting Buffaloes out there somewhere, you know, doing their thing.
Yeah.
And there's other production companies. Like they have studios opening up in the city of Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I will say the studios that they have opening up in the city of Buffalo, not friendly to the indie guys. So, you know, you need to look for studios that are economical, and, you know, what they're doing is looking for the Hollywood films and the big budgets.
Yeah.
And not really considering the people that are making Buffalo known. So.
Well, we always talk about, as we've kind of just been chipping away at the ice, the big Buffalo film community iceberg, is how many people in these last few years, I know myself and Cindy, that's how I met Cindy.
Oh, on the 48.
Through the 48.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But
That's how we meet
all
everybody.
these other things.
Yeah.
I got
This will be my
commercial
third,
out
yeah.
of it. I've worked with Jordan. I've casting Buffalo, and now ALC Andrew Lewis Caldwell.
Yeah, right.
I
was trying to remember what the name of that one was.
Right, and Chris
Yeah.
Shear, and then everybody through their studio, and it's just something that I tell people that don't realize it is the Western New York film community is so big and encompassing.
Yeah.
And it employs a lot of people.
Yes, it does.
When they do have films, or whether you're doing an indie film or anything else, it employs a lot of people, and they don't understand that. And I've even had conversations with Senator Ort's chief of staff.
Okay.
And talk to him about, why is he, sometimes he gets a little off about the financing to, filmmakers in New York State and bringing films here. So, but it is a big community.
It is a big community, but that I've tried to get the film credit before. It's not for the indie guy. They don't care
It's
about
different, yeah.
they don't care about 55,000. They want $1 million.
Right.
At least as a minimum, maybe a couple 100,000. But I still remember the Pierce Arrow building. I don't know if you remember this. There was a big studio set up at Pierce Arrow for the longest time, and then that disappeared. But Buffalo is grown so much. Just on the Buffalo Film Extras page alone, there's almost 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, almost 10,000.
Yeah.
And those are legitimately real people.
Yeah.
Looking for work.
Yeah, I'm always checking. That's one of my
Yeah.
Facebook groups that I'm always constantly checking for work.
So
as well.
just to go back a little bit,
Sure.
let's tell us. We have about four minutes left.
Sure.
But just mention a little bit about how do you go about, besides raising money, through Indigo or whatever, your fundraising to do your films.
What I found the best way to do a film is to talk to people during tax season. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because tax season, you get money most times, or you don't.
Right.
But those that do,
And that sucks.
yes, those that do get money,
Right.
you don't see it if you don't have it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Exactly.
So a lot of people in my earlier youth would contribute their tax refunds. That was the first step to it.
Yeah.
I know I contribute my tax refunds. I know I've used so much credit in my life to make movies.
Yeah.
My wife would tell you.
Stop.
Oh no!
She's gonna pay. Your suitcase is gonna be packed when you get home.
Oh, it already is. In fact, it already is.
It's on wheels.
It is.
She can drag it right out the damn door.
Yeah. But she's very supportive in all seriousness.
Yeah.
But
Of
Indiegogo
course.
and the tax refunds were always the big thing. And then I had to do a lot of self-investing, because if you don't invest in yourself, then why should somebody else believe in you?
Right.
And,
Yeah.
like I did a huge chunk on Ombis too, but I had to raise even more money.
Right.
And I couldn't believe we even found as much money, almost 30 G's on Indiegogo. We're at 27.
But you're making money on them, right? A little bit.
The director,
Yeah.
producer, I would say hardly makes money.
Yeah.
But I would say the actors, the talent, all
Right.
those folks we put to work in
Right.
Buffalo.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Like before we go,
Sure.
what's coming up for you?
Ombis 2.
Okay.
And it is a digital masterpiece, so to speak. I'm also producing a couple of documentaries that'll be coming out in the upcoming years. And I'm working on a book. And last but not least,
Wow.
not to have an ego with this, but I have done like 10 feature films. I am I'm helping produce a documentary about my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Now, where can people go to see all your stuff? Besides, we want them to subscribe
Please.
to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But where else can they see it? Like, can they see it on Hulu? Your
Everywhere.
stuff everywhere. So it's streaming.
It's not on Hulu,
Okay.
but it is on like Vudu, iTunes, Google Play.
Okay.
It is often on Roku channels streaming for free. A lot of my stuff
Yeah.
with ads, of course.
I love Roku.
Yeah. But man,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Adam.
you can see it anywhere. You just type in whatever film you're looking for, or my
Right.
name, Adam Steigert, and
we'll put all that information
We're gonna
up
have
for
it all
everybody
up.
because I'm sure they're going to want to go after this and watch Adam's films 100%.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I have to tell you though, when I was a kid, I used to play with that green slime.
Yeah.
And watching your movie, I kept thinking of
The
that
green
green
slime?
slime that I just absolutely loved as a kid. If anybody knows where I could get some of that, make sure you message me.
Sure.
That's Adam. It has been an absolute.
Thank you very much for
joy.
having me.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you could come out and join us.
Thank
It's been a
you.
great show. Learned a lot. Adam Steigert, one of
Yep.
Western New York.
We'll have all his
and-
info
and
up.
Buffalo, great filmmaker. It
Yes.
was
Thank
fun
you.
to work with you
Yes.
on Ombis too.
Yeah.
I hope we work together again.
And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing something else with you.
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Adam.
Yes.
Yes.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Tee it up with Phil and Cindy.
Tee it
this
up.
is show number 5. We're looking forward to show number 6.
100%.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Subscribe.
you.